couple videos ago, we talked about warning signs, red flags, things that if you saw before a key started, you would probably expect it to not go very well at all. I gave my relatively controversial opinion that too much chatter before key, especially things that are completely unrelated, or in that case, like super childish, would indicate that that player is not taking the key serious, and thus you may want to either replace them or leave that group before it starts. We got that real hold my beer moment here. This is coming at you hard, man. Wait until you see what's going on before this key starts. Now, this key is just filled with people talking, okay? So you have told me in the past that a lot of you guys are watching on phones. You can't actually see what's being said. I'm going to try to read it all to you guys. In fact, there was so much said that he actually sends me a screenshot of what was there before the recording starts. So this is them starting the key, and we have a hunter, two different paladins, one a tank and one a healer, and a warlock all typing a ton. They're basically talking about getting gear. This is a lower key. It's actually a 13. The guy says, hopefully I can get that weapon. And the healer says, what is it in here? Hero tract? Then the warlock, this is the heavy hitter here. This guy's collecting enough flags to start a flag football league. He says, what continent am I going to? Theldrazid or whatever? The healer says, going to Theldrazis, lol. Then everybody else starts laughing. 3 allocations of the laugh out loud emote chat thing that people type. Boglock from Area 52 then says, where is that? What portal? All caps. Double pallet. It's like they're maybe twins because they're both playing the same class. They both said no portal. Just fly here from Theldrazis. The guy says then in all caps, why doesn't Google or Wowhead just tell me? What do you want them to tell you? It's in the game. You could literally see it on the map. Then for some reason, there's no timestamp for when these things are said, but presumably it's said very shortly after his previous comment about asking a website to tell him how to find something in a video game. He then says, please don't procreate. And I don't know if that's a typo, if he sent that to the wrong mistell, what is that? Why is he saying that? Somehow nobody reacts to that comment. I don't have any idea what that comment is meant to be. The guy says, cool dude, I'll head right there, lol. And the obvious question gets asked, how are you 1600 and don't know where this dungeon is? So now we're in the actual key. The guy has arrived, I guess. So we press the record button. He goes, anyway, let's do this, in all caps. Then the paladin tank says, disgob, just fight Gobby. I don't know what that is. It's probably some meme speak that I don't understand. He says, you ding-dongs didn't even summon the healer, which I don't necessarily see the healer, but all the frames show the guy's in range, so I have no idea what that guy's talking about. Completely unsolicited, seemingly, the warlock says, 10 bucks tank pulls way too much, blames the healer, and dips and re-queues. What the fuck is that? Where is that comment coming from? This is all before the key starts, by the way. And this is the guy who's recording it. It's his key. The healer then says, let me know when we're starting so I can pop my new jeans MV. At this point, I'm not sure if they're speaking English. The warlock says, nice item level, but can you play at it though? This is a 13, by the way. They're doing a 13 and this guy's wondering about item level. Here we are with Boglock says, yo, I'm sorry. I'm very drunk, in all caps. No deaths, nothing's gone wrong. The paladin healer says, all good. And then he replies with something that makes no sense. He says, I got some opinions on some things in the dungeon, or what? What are your opinions on? That guy says, eat him, I'll heal you. Eat that volcanic, which I don't is he saying literally don't do the mechanics? I'm not sure why you would say that, especially a DPS in a key. But yeah, if you look down at the DPS chart, you see the guys doing half the damage of the other players in the group. We're ready to start the first boss, and the Holy Pally is still talking about jeans, which I don't know if it's a euphemism at this point. I have no idea what the guy's talking about. I assume maybe he's talking about he got new pants or something like that. We're about to have the first death of the run as well. You would not expect some of these things to kill people on a 13, but these guys are finding ways to do it. I don't know if I've ever seen a DPS die to this here. We're going to have the tank frontal come out here. Here's the warlock. You can see him running around over here. He gets hit by the tank frontal and that just straight up one-shots him. It's kind of just running around in circles here. You'll see him come into shot here in a second. Just moving an absolute ton. I don't think that's really a good idea as a warlock, but he doesn't actually soak the split, which again, 13 gets away with. Then he's just kind of running around back there, and now he's just standing here. The really funny thing is you're going to see the actual actual imps get knocked back too when he gets knocked back. It's really funny looking. There's the warlock here, and then yeah, you see the imps go flying with him. I think that just like, kind of cracked me up when I saw that. I never realized that everything gets knocked back like that. Now we're progressing through the dungeon here. We're in this really complicated maze area, and the warlock has some very insightful question that he needs an answer to. He says, how do I disable this weeb gnome voice? So Warlock is going to go ahead and die, and it's in a kind of funny, unique way here. Might not be too easy to see, but you're going to see, watch the sand, like right here. The Warlock's like still on his mount. He dismounts, and he's just standing in the sand. He moves out of it for a second, but you can kind of see like he's just moving a ton. This dude just like moves an absolute ton. He just kind of moves back into the sand and then just stands in it and dies to the sand. Now he's just staying dead for like multiple seconds, like a long period of time. So everybody says, release, lol, release if you're awake. The guy goes, yo, shut up, I will. Meanwhile, he's still not released. Now it's starting to get a little bit more contested. The healer says, sassy bottom DPS lock. What's next? I don't understand. Like, shut up, I will release. Well, what's taking so long? What do you mean you will? When is that going to happen? He gets back. He's on his way. He's mounted on his fancy fell steed. He rides back and he dies again. The guy's dead in the sand again. At this point, he says another extremely insightful thing. He says, oh, poor leadership. Yeah, no, I think that's got to be leadership. Yeah. So now they're doing like, this is like basically like a little gauntlet type area. They're rushing through this area. The warlock's still dead. This time he's not releasing. He goes, dude, just tell me go left or right or something. Can you not do two things at once? Homie, what? They just leave him. They don't even res him. They just abandon him back there. He goes, why can't you, who knows what I should do, not tell me what I'm doing wrong? He says, don't run on the gold on the floor. Like, I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, but he's going to release and then die again. It seems like he's just running through the sand over and over again. He says, okay, so the sand, now we're getting somewhere, seemingly indicating that he's died to the exact same thing 3 times and he's not made any progress on figuring it out on his own. Meanwhile, they just continue with 4-manning. The pally says, we 4-manning it, y'all. The warlock says, your reference for the color of sand is gold. What the hell? Seemingly reacting to the guy who says, don't stand in gold from before, like if that's not the color of it. I don't know how, like, I mean, it's actually crazy that this key is going on. And luckily it's a 13. I feel like if it was anything much higher, this would not have gone very far after this. This is what's great about pugging. You have some hilarious moments, but unfortunately when you do higher keys, everybody's so on edge that they just, as soon as things start going wrong, they bail, they just dip really hard. You're missing moments like this, dude. I'm telling you, you're missing amazing, hilarious moments, but nobody finishes keys, so you never get to see those hilarious moments unfold unless it's on a lower key. The guy says, all you had to say was don't touch sand. I really hope you're not in a high-end rating guild. Good gracious. I don't think he would be in a 13 if he was in a high-end rating guild. Like what? Okay, we're like 15 minutes later. The warlock's actually back now. Here we are. He's slinging imps, doing a solid 13k. The guy says, lol, buttheads, acting like you know how to play, and he puts, I had to look, 5 dots. He puts 5 dots at the end of that. Pull your head out ya butt. Yeah, like Y-A, yeah butt. Getting really sick of you YouTube WoW players doing what's what with like quotations, what's what. Can't adapt to what's happening. This is the only thing that actually makes me think he's drunk. Like whenever I know somebody like who's drunk, it's like they just keep talking about nonsense. Like they're just saying things that nobody's even replying to. They're just talking to talk. That's exactly what this guy's doing. I have no idea what he's even saying or what he thinks he's saying at this point. Like the paladin healer says, sweet 35k DPS, bro, you pumping. The warlock says, I understand that I'm about to get kicked from the last boss before loot. Would you mind doing that now instead of then? He goes, nah, man, you cool. I'm having a blast and laughing. The warlock says, I'm not looking for a carry. I'm just playing poorly. Now, I don't think that is a fair assessment of the situation. That may be the biggest understatement I've ever heard. The guy goes, all good. He says, stop saying all good. Say what you mean to say in all caps. The guy says, I honestly don't feel like you're getting carried. I would say otherwise. The guy goes, crap, my gear is all red, lol. The healer goes, this bro died 5 times in the sand. He's getting carried. I mean, I think honestly, dude, if you die 5 times, I didn't die 5 times, but if you die multiple times of standing in sand in that room, you're probably not ready for the key you're in. The guy goes, I'm getting carried, but it's not because I'm bad, but instead it's because I'm stupid. He admits it. I mean, hey, at least he is admitting it. Go to last boss, we'll meet you. Because you see they've been doing this with 4 people. They're straight up just 4-manning the dungeon at this point. The guy says, amazing directions. You're something something regarding society. I just don't know. I really don't know. If you guys know what this guy is trying to say, if I'm missing something, please, I need a translator for this key. Please, down below. The guy says, I don't know what to do, ... This is just dumb. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's pretty clear this guy's never been in this dungeon before. I think, like, legitimately never seen the dungeon before. Doesn't know where he's going, doesn't know what these basic mechanics are, didn't know where the dungeon are. I think, like, just own it up, man. Like, just say, like, hey, I've never been here before. Can you guys help me? And this whole thing would have gone a lot different. He goes, getting really tired of the whole brute force dungeon analytic. We should be doing diplomacy instead of violence, says the healer. The warlock says, do you know what the word diplomacy means? It means find a way to benefit each other. Is that the actual definition of diplomacy? The art of dealing with people in a sensitive and effective way. The profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations, typically by a country's No, it's not the definition, of course. Why was I trusting this guy? The guy says, when we get in the cave, you can die and then release. The warlock says, buncha, how can I entangle myself to my own will? Now I'm not sure if he's like possessed by some demon. Like, at least some of the words before made some sense. Just like strange, like just weird, like honestly, really weird behavior. The guy goes, instead of how to play as a team, then immediately says, lol, my bad, you guys are cool. But that's really what this game is, and you know it. Seemingly talking about the comment of entangling yourself to your own will, or what the fuck even is that? I have no idea. The tank says, okay, so now it's a carry, lol. I just realized he wasn't with us. So they are at the final boss and they have 8 minutes left. They 4-manned it entirely. They're doing a 13 non-tyrannical with only one affix. Like, you don't have the other affix because it's not a 14 yet. The guy says, if I told you to stop while you were driving a car, would you stamp your foot on the acceleration? Good gracious. I just don't even know what to comment on it. The healer says, if a T-Rex was chasing, yeah, I'd step on the gas. They're fighting the boss. Like, things are going relatively well. The DPS is obviously, yeah, it's not going great for the guy. He's done 366,000 DPS, probably because he's typing this. How many sentences are in a paragraph? Then he dies and just types, like, literally a bunch of fucking spam. Like, it's just letters that don't obviously equate to any words. He says, yep, never mind. I think I'm just an idiot. Is that assessment based on the fact that you just typed a bunch of random letters and characters and then died on a 13 fortified? Or is it because you asked about a paragraph and how many sentences are in a paragraph in the middle of a Mythic Plus boss fight? You guys vote down below. It's a 13 fortified. The boss is dead and they are going to upgrade this key with like 5 minutes left with a guy who basically wasn't present the entire way. That guy manages to finish the fight by doing like less than 1.5 million DPS. It's pretty crazy. Like, I don't even know what to say about this. Like, is he trolling? Is it serious? Is he actually drunk? Like, do you guys think this is ridiculous? Like, you think he should be action for this? Like, I don't know what to say about this because obviously they upgrade the key. That is now the overall chart. The guy did 49 million damage, whereas the Death Knight, the guy who recorded this, did 182. So the guy basically just stole a key. Like, he just got carried, like hardcore carried. I've not ever seen something like that before. I've never seen somebody just be like belligerently talking about absolutely nothing for 31 minutes and 47 seconds. Actually longer than that because the guy was typing a bunch of nonsense before the key even started. He was basically just doing nothing but typing for 40 plus minutes and they just did the key with that happening and upgraded it. How do you guys feel about that? We talked about it as a red flag. You know, you guys can debate on whether or not you guys think typing is a red flag, but this guy's basically outing himself before the key even starts. Like, the first thing he says, like, I don't know how to get to a dungeon that I signed up to. You're obviously going to be playing with a bad player. Yeah, maybe in a 13, you're fine to just laugh it off and carry the guy, but it's rare that you see a better example. We've got 2 videos on this now where both just shine. Like, it's so clear that these guys are red flags before the key even starts. The guy who submitted this to, I'd love to hear your thoughts, dude. I'd love to hear what you were thinking when this key was forming, what you were thinking as it was progressing. I'd be like shaking in my boots, dude. I'd be thinking like, oh my God, this key's going to disband. I can't believe we're about to disband at 13 because it's nonsense. That's the real issue for me. Like, I feel like that's the biggest issue. The typing does not necessarily stop you from succeeding, as you see in this key, but it could stop the group from caring. Like, honestly, if I was that tank, I would be like, just shut up already, dude. Like, he's not even saying anything. He's just saying like random words that aren't even relevant. It would just tilt the group, I think. Like, I don't know, man. But yeah, super unique one. If you're out there running low keys, please do press that record button, man. There's such enormous amounts of hilarity out there. As you can see, like, this is not something you'd ever expect to see. We got a lot of great ones coming. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.